All right, all right, all right. Welcome and greetings to all tuning in from every corner of the digital world and LinkedIn land. Y'all have landed on the inaugural episode of Amplified with Stream Deck series. And trust me, it's not just another tech talk. We're here to sprinkle a little bit of that fairy dust on your video calls and presentations, making your camera shyness a thing of the past. Now, for the uninitiated, allow me the pleasure of introducing your soon-to-be Zoom sidekick in the quest to elevate your run-of-the-mill video calls into captivating and virtually immersive experiences. Now, I just quickly want you to picture this. Your presentations, not just seen, but experienced, leaving your audience not just interested in what you're doing, what you're selling, what you're teaching, but enthralled. And for those of you who haven't had the pleasure of meeting Stream Deck yet, imagine a gadget that puts the control of your digital universe right at your fingertips. It's not just a piece of tech, it's a creative co-pilot, ready to execute your commands with a simple tap, and now you can also turn dials. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. Today's agenda is packed with goodies. We're diving deep into the world of Stream Deck options, so to make sure you're picking the one that's right for you, guiding you through the setup process of installing the Stream Deck software and the integration to and last but not least, crafting our very first masterpiece together. I'm streaming to you live from the heart of Appalachia in Northeast Tennessee. My name is Garren Parkins. I'm the CEO of DeskRig, and I am your gracious host for today, aiming to inject just a little bit of fun and flair into your tech toolkit. Before we jump into the deep end, let's just quickly touch on some housekeeping. This isn't just a show. It's supposed to be an open forum of ideas and insights, and hopefully a little bit of banter. I'm all about keeping conversation flowing, respectful, and chock full of hopefully some light bulb moments for you. So please, don't be shy. Your questions and contributions are exactly what makes this a fun experience for everyone here. As we navigate this together, remember the strength of our community lies in diversity of thought. So please engage, ask, and share. This is an opportunity to voice your curiosity and contribute to this group's collective journey of discovery. And because loves making things interesting, they're throwing in a Stream Deck Plus into the mix for one lucky commenter. All you have to do is just sprinkle the words Stream Deck into our LinkedIn live comments. Sorry, Instagram and Facebook and everybody else. But one of you might just hit the jackpot. Now, you can enter as many times as you'd like until midnight tonight, and we'll select a winner randomly and announce that winner, I believe, tomorrow, Wednesday, March the 6th. As we peel back the layers of the Stream Deck and today, I want to personally invite you to break free from your norm. Video calls generally are pretty boring. I think everybody agrees on that. Every feature we explore here, every tip I try to share is a step towards mastering the art of digital storytelling. We all know how powerful storytelling can be in our careers. With tools like these at your disposal, every call and presentation becomes a chance to shine, impress, and to leave a lasting impression that can make the difference in you getting that job, deal, or promotion your experience and expertise have earned. So lean back, but not too far, because I wouldn't want you to miss out on the action. Let's go ahead and dive into a session that promises not just to inform, but to transform. Welcome to the live stream that can make your next presentation the best one yet. Welcome aboard, Amplified with Stream Deck. Now, let's make some magic happen and look at some Stream Deck options. So, let's dive into the heart of today's Tech Fest. It's the Stream Deck options from Elgato. Those of you who already follow me probably know I'm super obsessed with Stream Deck. This little gadget is about to become your new best friend, and I'm here to walk you through each option, giving you an overview, pros, cons, and hopefully help you understand what the return on investment for each one of these might look like for you. So if you're ready to find the perfect Stream Deck match, let's get into it. Now, before I get started here, if you want to follow along or kind of go along with me, you can head over to app/Stream Deck to get more information on the exclusive discount that they have available, which is definitely the best one on the internet, I'm pretty sure. And then also link over to Elgato's website where you can select some of the Stream Deck. So you'll see right here on the website, their webpage, they have some of the Stream Deck options to link out to. Now I'm going to go over to Elgato's website so we can look at all of the Stream Decks that they have available. And let me just pull that right up here. There we go. So currently, Stream Deck, or Elgato rather, has 5 options for Stream Decks. They have the mobile, the mini, the MK2, the XL, and the Plus. Let's go through Stream Deck Mobile first, just because it's kind of the lowest hanging fruit and it's not, you don't buy hardware for this one. So what Stream Deck Mobile does is it transforms your phone into a Stream Deck. So basically you install an app and then you'll get up to 15 virtual buttons in that app. The pros of this are that you already own a smartphone and your smartphone's a really portable tool you're always going to have with you. So it's super easy to pull out and be able to use. Also, it's really affordable. It's definitely going to be the cheapest option for those of you who really just want to start out and try out Stream Deck before you go ahead and jump in and invest in a physical hardware device. Definitely, we'll talk about the price here in a second of that, but it's very low. The cons are that you're dependent upon your phone. I've never used a Stream Deck mobile app because a lot of times during calls, I find myself needing my phone, whether I get a quick text message or phone call comes through, all that would interrupt your flow and you'd have to switch back and forth between apps. And that could be frustrating potentially. Also, then you're going to be dependent upon your phone's battery life unless you have a cord sitting right there to keep it charged at all times. The cost of this is a little bit different than the typical hardware devices. So it's a subscription service priced at $2.99 a month or $24.99 a year. And it offers, like I said, a flexible alternative to the Stream Deck Mini. It offers a flexible alternative to purchasing the hardware. So the next one I want to go through here is the Stream Deck Mini. And this is the one I think a lot of people start with. It's compact, it's cute. It packs a jab, not a punch. Okay. It's got 6 fully customizable keys, and it's a really great introduction to Stream Deck. This is the first Stream Deck I purchased because it was the most affordable. And in my infinite wisdom, I didn't see why I would need 15 or 32 buttons like what's on the XL. Now, the pros of this one are just like the cell phone app. It's going to have portability, smaller size, so you can fit it in tight spaces on small desks. And it's not going to be super intrusive into your space and clutter your space up with a huge honking deck of buttons. So also ease of use. I think it's a little overwhelming to look at 15 or 32 buttons and think to yourself like, well, how am I going to fill up this thing and get the most out of my investment here? So this is a nice starter point, ideal for beginners who just want some simple control schemes and don't plan on mapping everything in your digital life out to the Stream Deck. So the cons are obvious, right? You're gonna have limited keys. It's got 6 keys. So very shortly, you're going to be wanting additional real estate for more buttons. And I've experienced that personally. The cost for this one is $99, making it definitely the sweet spot for those wanting to dip their toes into Stream Deck, but not ready to quite go all the way with something like the next option, which is going to be your Stream Deck Plus. Stream Deck MK2. Messed that up. There we go. Okay. So this is actually the classic Stream Deck. This was like basically the first one they made with a little bit of an update. So previously, the original one, I think I have, my cord's tied down too much, but the cord is attached to the device. And so it's also a USB 2.0. So for those of you who have newer laptops with USB-Cs or Macs with USB-C and Thunderbolt, definitely going to be a better option. So you don't have to go out and get like a USB hub to then connect it to. Also, the MK2 comes with interchangeable faceplates. And offers 15 keys, which is a really great balance between functionality and footprint. The pros of this one is it's versatile, so it's got enough keys for most content creators and salespeople and streamers, but it's not so overwhelming where the 32 button one, which is the XL, and we'll get into in a moment. This, just like the rest of the Stream Decks, each key is a mini LCD screen, and you can personalize it to your whims. The price is really the biggest con, I guess. And it's just $149, so it's $50 more than the Stream Deck Mini, and you definitely get more buttons, so definitely more return on investment for that. So it's nice, middle of the road. Quick note on this, you can still get the original 15 buttons, like the original Stream Deck is available on Amazon if you look around for it, the predecessor, and you'll save a few bucks. So typically, I think that one's like $79 or $89. So you save a little bit of money. And if you have a USB 2.0 on your current computer, then great. It works awesome. The Stream Deck XL is the next one. And this is like, I would imagine this is like a truck in Texas, right? It's like everything's bigger in Texas. So this is for the power users among us. It has 32 buttons, so you literally would never run out of screen real estate for customizations. And with the other options that have 15 keys and 6 keys, and we'll talk about this a little bit later when we get into the customization area of this presentation, but you've got to use some of those buttons for navigation. So yes, you may have 15 off the rip, but it's just like, gross and net profit, right? You've got to save a little bit of screen real estate for some basic functions that you'll need for your presentations. So this Stream Deck is really for power users. Like I said earlier, this is going to be for people who have a huge desk and have the space, not afraid of having such a large device. The biggest con here is going to be size and price point. The price point is definitely the highest of the bunch. It comes in at a whopping $249. But if you're investing in Stream Deck and it's something you're going to use, I think it's a great option. Although the next one we're going to cover is my favorite one thus far, and that's going to be called the Stream Deck Plus. There we go. So if it's not obvious already what the differentiator here is, it's going to be the dials. So this one's got 8 keys, 4 dials, and the LCD pad above the dials is actually a touch screen as well, which is super awesome because one of the biggest pros of this one is enhanced navigation. So you can use your touch screen instead of dedicating buttons. So that way you get your buttons back. You don't have to take away one of those 8 for navigation purposes, and you can actually swipe through different screens on your pages on your Stream Deck with that touch screen, which is super awesome. That's one of the biggest selling points for me. So the cons are that the dials for someone who's been using Stream Deck and super used to all the buttons, dials are an adjustment, and no pun intended. When you've built in Stream Deck in the past, you get really used. You've got kind of your process and your techniques already dialed in, and you know what you're going to kind of build out for your presentations. Insert the dials, and you kind of find yourself going back to square one and saying like, ugh, well, how can I implement this? And luckily for this presentation, mmhmm's done an awesome job of making some awesome functions out of the box that you just drag and drop onto there, and you can just go ahead and use that out of the box. So the price point for this one is definitely the second highest of the bunch. So it's also a serious investment. This beast is going to set you back $199, but for the versatility it brings, definitely this is going to be the one I recommend for everybody. And again, mmhmm's offering a 20% off coupon code for this. So definitely going to help purchase this thing. So definitely say if you're going to do this, if you're invested, go ahead and grab the Stream Deck Plus. You're going to love the dials. You'll find tons of uses outside of just as well for the Stream Deck. And we could spend a whole hour-long stream, really, a series of streams, perpetual ones, on Stream Deck, because every day they're adding new things to the marketplace. New vendors are onboarding their products and integrating their products with Stream Deck. And I definitely see that this is going to be a must-have tool for virtual employees moving forward. So the last thing I want to touch on here with Stream Deck is there are other things on the web that you can go get to kind of augment this. So if you go to Etsy and type in Stream Deck, you'll see that people have made desk mounts for their Stream Decks and 3D printed these. And this is just so cool, I think. This really could customize everything. So in this case, there's the 32 button one, and it's very large, right? This person didn't like that on their desk, so they made a slide out mount that allowed it to hide under the desk. And I think that that is just so cool. For 50 bucks, definitely going to one up all your friends and their desk setups. So for your desk rig, definitely going to recommend having something like this. This is not something I've done yet, because I plan on designing my own mount. I would just want to, just for fun. I like to do 3D printing as well. So definitely going to do that, but recommend heading over to Etsy and doing that. So that is an overview of all the Stream Deck options, all the things that you might need to know about those items, and my recommendation which one to go with. Now, let's just pretend like you ordered one and it's just arrived in the mail and you're super stoked to get started. And now what you got to do is you have to install the software, install the integration, so that we can get to the next step, which is the funnest part of this whole thing, is building and playing with your new tech and toys. So let's go ahead and head over to the download Stream Deck app page. So if you've plugged in your Stream Deck already, you're going to need to go over to elgato.com. I believe it's /downloads. The link should be in the chat for all the streams here. And you're going to want to select your system, Windows or Mac. A lot of cases, most of the time, this website will actually pick up on that. And then you'll select your product, scroll down the Stream Deck. You should select your product, but it's the same software no matter what. So do not get overwhelmed. The only one that's different is the Stream Deck Mobile, and you'll download that directly on your device as well. Well, and your computer. So if you click on the item, Stream Deck Plus, I'm going to click on that, and then you'll see I can just click download. It will then download that installation file, and you'll walk through that installation process. Everybody knows what that looks like on their respective platforms, but it's an installer. It's nothing challenging about it. Next. Yes to all the, signing your soul away, terms and agreements, and then just click install and you'll be good to go. It will pop up. And then what you'll need to do is head over to the next section of this, which is installing the plugin. So Elgato has a marketplace, and it's pretty straightforward. You head over to the marketplace. I've already signed into my account. To install these, they do require that you have an account. There are single sign-on options like Google, I think Facebook as well. So you can just click single sign-on. It'll create your account there, and then you'll be able to click the down or install on your Stream Deck. Now you'll see I've already done that, and this indicates that. So if you've clicked this button, you should see your Elgato button options populating in your Stream Deck. Now, I will say I've had a couple instances in the past where I've tried to help people through this, and the first time we clicked install through the marketplace for any of these plugins, literally the entire marketplace, sometimes the first time you click it, it like doesn't show. You sometimes just have to close Stream Deck and reopen it, and then it will kind of grab all those. Sometimes it works the first try. I haven't found a rhyme or reason to the Elgato marketplace. Definitely has nothing to do with mmhmm's integration specifically, because it's happened to me on every single marketplace installation so far. So just be aware, if the first time you click and it doesn't work, just close your Stream Deck app, reopen it, and then if you click that open in Stream Deck button, it will open right away. So that is all it takes, y'all. Pick a Stream Deck, order it. You can get it straight from Elgato. You can get it on Amazon. There are a few other vendors. Best Buy sells them as well. So you can really get a Stream Deck anywhere you want to purchase it. If you want to take advantage of the 20% off, though, you'll definitely want to head over to mmhmm's webpage to grab that QR or that coupon code, which also should be in the comments as well from the moderators here in the chat. So we've done a lot so far, and the next thing we're going to want to do is to customize our build. But before we customize our build, we're going to hit you with a quick commercial break so I can catch my breath and come back to you with all the energy that you're going to need, and I'm going to need to continue this for the next 40 minutes. So we'll see you in just a second.
Can't get schedules in sync? Update everyone fast by recording a video with mmhmm. videos are perfect for demos, updates, and presentations. Trim, delete, and reorder sections to get right to the point. Fix mistakes by re-recording them. Forgot something? Add it later. Nothing explains your ideas better than you do. Explain yourself.
All right. So I caught my breath, got a quick drink. Now I'm ready to dive into what is the really the meat on the bone here. And I want to start this off. You'll see here on my screen share on the left-hand side, I guess whichever way you're looking, this is going to confuse me. I've got my Stream Deck up here, my physical Stream Deck. You can see my hand over it and me reaching for it. And then also I have up, a fresh instance of up. So I didn't spend any time building this ahead of time. So I wanted you guys to see me in process, put something together, as well as building the Stream Deck. So I got fresh builds on both sides. And before I get into this, I want to talk real quickly about the differences between like a day-to-day video call build and your kind of just normal miscellaneous usage, and then a specific build presentation. So I kind of split my profiles up in to be very specific to presentations, so I can dial in those buttons and not accidentally have the opportunity to hit things that take me away from my presentation. And then like other things that are available in Stream Deck that I can talk about as well here, which is going to be like adding your text signature that you can paste in with the click of a button, or opening websites or opening applications. All those things as well are great day-to-day usages. And then just for regular video calls, a lot of cases, I know a lot in my case, I go into video calls and I don't really have a specific presentation. However, I may need a menagerie of media or other collateral that I may want to show depending upon how a specific conversation unfolds. So it's good to have some things kind of baked into a basic video call setup that you may want to use in a normal setup. So for this use, we're definitely going to do more of a specific presentation build, but I'll also kind of play around and show some other stuff. The first thing I want to do is get some base setup stuff out of the way. Things that you're always going to need on your Stream Deck is navigation, mute, something like a sneeze button is what I like to call, and that's going to be a kind of our first jump into multi-action switches. I also like to set up a be right back button, and then maybe a call to action button as well. So let me, first off, let's do a previous and next button. So in the Stream Deck app, on the right-hand side, if you click the hamburger button, it's going to show you all of the different button options that are currently available, that are pre-stocked in, or that you have installed through the marketplace, like the buttons here. Now, I've just clicked these off so that we can keep a really clean workspace for me for this presentation. I'm going to open up, drill down into the buttons, and you'll see there are an absolute ton of options. But again, we're being specific here. We need previous and next sliders. So this go to slide button is nice. You can just grab it, drag it on. I like to put it to the far right of my Stream Deck because I put my I'm right-handed, using my mouse, right-handed. So I put my Stream Deck on the right hand, and when I reach to grab the Stream Deck, I can, without looking at the Stream Deck, know exactly where my forward and backward buttons are at. So that's a really nice way to do that. Let me get this back there for you. Okay, so that's out of the way. The next thing I want to do is set up a sneeze button. So if there's a loud noise, your dog barks, anything, your kids come running into the room, there's a million reasons why in an instant, without looking like you're in a total panic, you may want to turn off your audio and turn off your video. So let's set that up really quickly, and we'll do it in a way that doesn't take up too much space on our Stream Deck. So I'm going to grab the mic toggle, and I'm going to grab the camera toggle. And you'll see the Stream Deck already knows, you've already dialed in which microphone, which camera you're going to be working on here. So now what I want to do here is I'm going to go down to the multi-action options. And I actually want to grab a multi-action switch, because what that's going to do is it's going to run an action and then it's going to hold it there. And then when I press the button again, it's going to run the other action. So I'm going to go back, copy that button, that mute button, and paste it. Copy that button, paste it. Now, what's different here is if you look at these buttons, at the bottom in the options, you can see that it's only camera. It knows whether the camera or microphone are on and off. And then the button itself, when I push it, it will display an indicator that, hey, but the microphone's off. So at a glance, I can look down and know really easily my stuff's off. And that's nice to have that visual cue. You can just at a glance know what's kind of going on there. Now, the problem with having these buttons on here for me is, again, it's real estate. You'll see when we continue to build and build and build that we start to run out of screens, and you definitely don't want to be swiping through screens in the middle of a presentation, breaking your flow, and that's a bad pattern interrupt. So inside of this multi-action, I'm actually going to go ahead and copy these one more time for the second button. Paste. All right. So you'll see I'm on the first action of the multi-action switch. I can click on the item in the list. And then down here in the options, it says mic on. So now I can toggle it between the two, mic on or mic off. So I'm going to leave that on because that's the one I want to be on. And on this one, I'm just going to toggle it to off. Awesome. So now when I back out, that multi-action switch, I can go in here and title this and call this sneeze. So when I click it, everything goes away and everything comes back. So that's a quick and easy way to be like, press the button, you're out, clean and good to go. Got a few different names for that button, but sneeze button is probably the most appropriate for a corporate live stream. So the next thing I want to do is set up a kind of a be right back look and feel. And this is going to demonstrate some other of the functionality that we'll also continue to talk about later on in the build here. So like if you need to step away, but it's not just like a sneeze button, you don't want to just completely disappear. You may want to have like an image of yourself up with a background and some contact information as an example. So I'm going to create a new slide here and I'm going to put a background on. I'm going to turn my camera. Oh. So let me get this right here. So now, let's see. We want to add, this is going to be a little challenging because I have to be on screen for this. So just imagine my picture is not on screen here. And what I'll do here is add a media object. Already got a picture of myself. There it is. That's back when I had some hair. Kind of crop that image out. There we go. Awesome. You'll see me doubling up on screen here. This kind of shows you how I'm doing this technically too, which is kind of neat. Producer Brian, if you don't mind, just go to the next slide for a second. Awesome. This one might be helpful. And just monitor that for me. Awesome. So now I'm going to put some text in here. Actually, I'm just going to add my QR code. That's all I want up right now. This will demonstrate. This will be a good demonstration without spending too much time on this one item. So let's grab the QR code, put it on screen. Okay. So now I've got an image of myself. I have a QR code that I may want people to scan, and then I also have a background. And so what I want to do now is actually tie these media objects to buttons in Stream Deck. And this is probably one of my favorite things about the Stream Deck integration. I don't know of any other company that has an integration that does this. And it's so neat. So basically what I can do here, Brian, if you'll go back to my screen share. Thank you very much. what I can do here now is I can grab a media toggle and then select a media object. And then when I press that media toggle, it ties it to that object and shows it on the Stream Deck. So you don't have to guess, you don't have to name things. It just works. It's just there. So now if I press that button, it goes away. Press the button again, it comes back. So that's super cool. So now what we're going to do is multiply that 3 times, and then we're going to put that into like a multi-action, right? So now I'm going to grab this item. Let me grab another media toggle. See my picture pops up there. And then I'm going to do one that's for change background. Okay, so that's a little bit different of a button, but it has a similar functionality. So now I can grab, the background selected. So it's going to select the background that's active on your current canvas. Oh, whoops. So what I didn't do here, and you'll see the toggle button, apologies. I didn't change the toggle from cycle top backgrounds to select an individual background. Now, one thing I do want to say here, I really do like the cycle top backgrounds. When I first saw it, I was like, well, why would I couldn't think of why I would do that. But then later I thought about it, and it's like, sometimes you just want to go on a video call and have some variety, right? Like, it's not necessarily about having this exact perfect scripted story out with every single pixel in the right place. It's just, let's just have a little bit of fun and flair. And in this case, you could just like quickly cycle through different backgrounds throughout your presentation. Or like I said, for one of those purposes where you had a generic video call and you weren't going to be building a specific Stream Deck setup for a presentation. So I'm going to click select background. And now when I press that, you'll see that background button went blue. So now if I was to change backgrounds to just anything, if I press that background button, it's going to change back. And if I was to take off my QR code, take off my picture, and also go back to, let's do it here. If I was here, now I could background, QR code, and my person, right? And my video would be off in that case, obviously. But again, we're doing some technical demo stuff that's kind of challenging here. Now, we can power those things into a multi-action switch, just like we did with the mute button. Awesome. Let me go to here, shrink myself down. And then when I press the multi-action, boom, right to an exact setup that you want. And that's really nice if, again, you're in the middle of a video call and you're like, hey, I need to be right back. Or you're in a webinar where, like a training session or a group networking call. And, while everyone else is awkwardly sitting there nodding and smiling, or like typing around on their computer, you can put up your Be Right Back screen with a click of a button and have a super professional look with your calls to action, metadata information like your name and title and your company and all that other good stuff that you may want to show off during your video calls at a moment's notice. And what's nice about that is that then you don't have to kind of like build a scene in for every little thing and then go find it, right? Because right now, and I'm sure they're working on this, but the next and previous buttons can't go to a specific slide. So that's where this multi-action with tying all of these items to a specific multi-action allows you to go to like a specific setup kind of on the go. So that's fun. That's fun as well. So let's get into some of this presentation specific stuff. So that's all basic stuff. Some of the things I think are really important for you to understand generally. But now I want to hop in and start making a presentation that we can work on. So let's see. No, Brian, let's go back to the share screen because I'm going to have to kind of go through this and it's going to do the same camera thing again. So you guys just have to bear with that because that's a technical challenge. We need like 5 cameras to get around that. So first thing I like to do on my presentations is I like to start here in like a no setup, basically, just a normal video call. You kind of get your intros out of the way. You don't come in, overwhelming the audience, because I have experienced in the past, I come in looking like 100%. And that sets a weird balance in the power dynamics sometimes in a call, and especially when you're trying to earn business. You want to come in a little more of a humble way. So this is really humble way to start your calls with no effects, right? Nothing at all. And what we're going to do from here is, when you are ready to start your presentation, we're going to immediately jump into what that might look like. So let me grab some text that I'm going to put on screen. There we go. 5 ways Stream Deck amplifies your presentations. So that's going to be our first one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a background. Some things I kind of want to just mention along the way here. You can set up an profile for building only. And I definitely think that's something you should do. You can have buttons in there for increasing, decreasing the size of your camera, going full screen, adding effects, fades, rotating your camera, like all those different things that you're doing with your mouse and keyboard along the way while you're building can kind of be at a fingertip, and nice micro controls. So every click on the button is a little easier to control, I've found, than the slide bars with your mouse sometimes. That's nice tactile controls. So now what I'm going to do is pop up a text box. I want a text box on screen, and I want to paste in the name of my presentation. So awesome. So going directly from nothing at all, right, to hopping straight into fully prepared presentation. I think that's really cool. It's a nice, like, pull the curtain type effect, and everybody always gets the wow factor, and immediately they're going to want to know a little bit more about how you're doing this. So you kind of just saw me there. Pretty straightforward. We would use the Stream Deck buttons. Oh, I messed that one up, it looks like. That should be previous. So when I click previous, I kind of go through my slides here. Let me delete that one. And then, so right now, boom, kind of goes ahead and shows you what that might look like. Now, let's say in the middle of this presentation, you want to change. I'm going to delete some of these buttons here. Let's say in the middle of this presentation, you want to change your camera frame. I think that's something else that's occasionally I'll find myself needing. And the reason being is because when I'm doing a screen share and I'm over top of content, there are times where my audience says, hey, you're covering up the words I want to read. You're covering up the imagery we want to see, and changing your camera frame will offer you some versatility around, some flexibility rather, around switching that on the go. So I grabbed the camera frame button, and you can actually grab 3 of those and do kind of this technique here, which I really like. And I'm going to make sure I've got silhouette as 1, circle as 1, and rectangle as 1. And you'll see the buttons change their graphic so that you know what they represent. So now when I click one of these buttons, you'll kind of see me pop around into different camera frames. Now, let me do that. There we go. So that turned the green screen function off. So the background removal that's built into Now I've just turned this off here. And so you can kind of see those camera frames come through a little more effectively. And the silhouette, what's cool is it turns it back on by default. So that's really neat. So if I was sharing my screen and I needed to get small, also, I grab the size button. Let's say I was sharing my screen again, the same use case we're talking about, and I was in silhouette mode. Now I can just click my circle button, reduce the size of my camera, and we're good to go. And now I'm really out of the way of everybody else. Now, some other little tips about this that I learned that are neat. The snapping Actually, it's more than just design layout. So you can, if you snap your camera to the corner, when you size up and size down, the camera will shrink back to that respective corner. So if I go up to the top left, see how that works. Now that's a little tip that it took me a little while to figure out, but super helpful, especially if your presentation plans on doing some of this movement stuff. Man, I just looked at the clock. It's 1:40. This is we're flying through this. So that is camera silhouette setup. That is a basic setup there. Let's go on to some other things. I want to hop into, let's see, some of the other full screen toggle buttons, which I also like. It's a different way to handle changing your camera size. So I'm going to add a new slide here. And I'm going to go back to silhouette mode. I just took the button off. So I'm going to go back to silhouette. There we go. Okay. So let's find full screen toggle. So this one also is actually a quick key for going full screen or going back to the small side. So again, same situation we were kind of talking about a minute ago. There's a bunch, and let me just say, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. I'd never skin a cat, but I like the saying. So yeah, this full screen toggle is really nice. You can quickly go back and forth. I love that function. Again, talking back through the multi-action steps we were talking about, you can tie this button in with a change the background or add your media keys and start to mess around with these multiple action type switches that are really nice. Let me go back to my outline here. I've got a few more things that I want to talk about before we kind of move on to the closing. We've saved backgrounds. We've talked about controlling camera. Let's go through a couple other camera controls, just because I want you to see some of these, and I actually want to show you the effects as well, which I absolutely love. Very similar to tying the media buttons. So I'm going to put fade on the Stream Deck. I'm going to put rotate on the Stream Deck there. And then I'm going to put zoom on the Stream Deck. So zoom is probably one you would want in your everyday setup, especially if you're working off of a laptop and you're not in the same place all the time, because your camera is going to be at different lengths from you, and you may want to zoom in to hide some of your background or for whatever reason. So through that zoom on there, and I can actually just spin this to zoom myself in or out. Now, also, this is really cool. The dials are also buttons. So they spin, but they also click, and you can set this to a specific size. So for instance, let's say we wanted to, anytime we clicked this, we wanted to set it back to, the largest size possible. Now, when I press that, it's going to zoom me all the way in, and I can spin it to come all the way back out. But I always know I can quick switch myself to a specific camera layout, which we've all been there in video calls. Sometimes, you don't have the time to go mess around with a software, right? You don't have the screens, you don't have extra screens. You're on one laptop potentially. There's a million reasons why having that quick ability to just pop into a specific setup is really nice. Rotate and fade and size all work the same way as zoom, just for their respective functionalities. So I can rotate myself, which I think is a lot of fun. Somebody said something in a video call that I want to roll my eyes at. I might just roll myself around instead. The fade is going to fade my camera in and out. I like that, especially if I want to just go off screen really quickly. I think it's a nice effect rather than just like cutting your camera off, kind of fades you out there. And then size, we've already talked about, right? And now you'll see here, this is a great moment to illustrate. I didn't snap my camera to the corner. So now it's just like snapping, and it's just getting small in the place that it was. So now if I was to snap this in a specific corner, when I go up and down, it's going to scale me to be in the right place. So that's really awesome. Now, let me delete these buttons really quickly. And I want to pop up the effect button. Effects are, I see them as nice ways to enhance moments. So you definitely aren't going to want to have your effects on 100% of the time, right? That could be a little bit distracting, I think, and then a little bit gaudy, like overwhelming if you're just like in one of these effects the whole time. So basically, I think about specific moments where like I'm gonna crack a joke, or I'm gonna field a question a specific way that I always do, or I have a part in a presentation where I've done this in the past for one of my videos. I did a flashback, right? And there's a really nice feature. There's a really nice effect in there that kind of gives an old school look. So let's kind of dive into some of these. On the mmhmm software, you can see the effects panel is right here, and you can pick black and white, pixelize. That's another nice way to actually go off screen, by the way. Is just pixelize yourself so people know you're there, but maybe you're like fielding a phone call real quick. And this compliments is going to make you look nice, like a TikTok filter. Man, I should leave that on. Dang. Handheld game console, glitch. That one's fun. If you want to pretend like your net's cutting out, you need to leave a meeting to go snowboarding or take a run. And then last but not least, old film. So that's all the effects, but let's look at how they work with a Stream Deck. So now that I've chosen an effect, just like the other options that I've showed you, you can click a button. And sorry, I had, just like the last time, I had it on cycle instead of select, but now I have it on toggle. So I'm going to select a background, black and white. I'm sorry, effect. And I'm going to click the button. What did I do? I'm doing something wrong. I must have messed something up. So this will also pop up like with the image of the effect, which again, the same thing I said earlier, that's probably out of everything here, my favorite thing they did, because it's so frustrating having to name all your buttons or go into Illustrator or the Stream Deck button maker, which they have available online at Elgato's website, and make custom buttons for everything. mmhmm has done such an awesome job of making that easy for you. So yeah, effects, that's another great feature. Let's see. Anything else I want to pop on? We've got about 13 minutes left. I want to make sure we can get the rest of the information in and everybody's getting a chance to enter the stream and all that kind of good stuff. So, I mean, other things that I definitely think are important that you know are here is the record button. So a lot of people are using mmhmm to record videos for asynchronous video updates. If you're not doing that, you definitely should be. It saves you a ton of time. And that's a nice button to be able to just like reach down, start your recording, and be back hands-free. Elgato also sells a foot pedal that you can set up that also ties to like Stream Deck, like a Stream Deck button. So you could actually set that up as your next slide button or your start recording button so that you're always hands-free, which I think adds a really nice effect and makes it kind of look like magic. So slide toggle is another one I want to mention, because if you're in a presentation, and let me just go to, I'm gonna snap this down here because I know I'm going to need it. And I have my slide toggle and I want to put on, there we go. Okay. So if I have my slide on, what am I doing? So you can toggle the background with the flip of a switch. So if you're in the middle of a presentation like this, and you want to go out of the presentation and just kind of be in a conversational mode, the presentation's over, and maybe you've got more slides in there, and the last slide's the one that has you just regular, you can just click that button and it just takes you right out. That's so nice. And then that slide toggle button that I showed you also will put your graphic back up. So you can kind of do a combination of those things, right? Like if they're like, hey, can you bring that really quickly, that pricing sheet that you just had up, can you bring that back up? It's like, oh yeah, here it is. Sorry about that. And then you can be like, okay, is that enough? and continue on. And you can see how there are so many ways to accomplish professional presentations with these two tools together. And you can customize it to your heart's desire. You don't have to do it the way I've done it. You may have come up with some ideas on your own that were really awesome. So other things here that I want to just mention, like the mirror video toggle. Some people like to have the mirror video toggle, depending upon, like, you may have a teleprompter that doesn't have a self-mirroring screen and you want to see yourself the right way for, to create eye contact. Also, the big hands toggle button is nice. I don't like to leave big hands on in because I think, at least in my computer, I find that there's sometimes a little bit of lag, but this is just so cool, right? You can throw up different things. And if you click on the question mark, you can kind of see the different options that pop up, right? I just think that's so neat, and it's fun, and it's interactive, and in a way to kind of put your video up your video calls and kind of the experience and the vibe you're providing when you're joining other people. And that's a nice toggle to turn on and off, because again, I think that in my case, it kind of slows my computer down. I think I've covered really everything here. Like the enhancement dial kind of turns those enhancements up or down, increases them up or down. So if I go to the dial, boom, and that will step those enhancements up or down. And I don't have any on right now, but that's also something I use pretty sparingly. And I would say that would be something I use more in my build setups than I do in my presentation setups, because I may want to just slightly tweak the enhancement that I'm providing in a specific slide. Big deep breath. So that was a lot for me, and I do this every day. I'm sure this was a lot for you guys. I hope that this was a helpful introduction for you to understand the value of Stream Deck, some of the options that are available there, as well as some of the things that you can do here in to make your presentations awesome and controlled by the Stream Deck. So let's talk a couple other things. So if you haven't already, you're definitely going to want to drop Stream Deck in the comments for a chance to win a brand new Stream Deck. I mean, who doesn't want free $199? So all you have to do is drop Stream Deck in the comments. Again, let me remind you one more time. Hey, Brian, do me a favor and go to that next slide. Nope. The one before that? There we go. Thank you. So again, let me remind you one more time, you can enter as many times as you would like until midnight. So spam those comments, get in there, and we'll select a winner randomly Wednesday, March the 6th. So let's talk about what happens if you didn't win a Stream Deck. So in the game of life, not everybody's going to get to take home the grand prize, okay? But look, don't let not winning the Stream Deck dim your digital dreams, because even if Lady Luck didn't wink at you today during the giveaway, you can still grab your Stream Deck at an internet-breaking 20% off using that exclusive code, ZZ-mmhmm. Highly recommend you use that. And take advantage of that. So as I'm drawing the curtain today, I see I've got about 7 minutes left. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time back today. But I don't want you to forget next week's stream or the next week's stream. We're going to be streaming every week in the month of March. The next two are going to be much better than this one today, I'm sure. But you're going to be joined by the illustrious Michael Percupta. Got that wrong, I'm sure, Michael, but I tried my best. And he's going to be diving deep into the realms of profiles for Stream Deck. And so where I went into just, some of the functionalities and the individual buttons and features, he's really going to dive into how to customize those profiles for different purposes and be able to navigate around those profiles in the Stream Deck as well. It's going to be really awesome. Michael is an absolute wonder with if you've watched any of his content, it's absolutely incredible. And I highly recommend, if you enjoyed anything about this stream at all, his is going to blow this one out of the water. So again, profiles is what he's going to be doing, and they're going to allow you to quickly get started with basic recommended configurations or for everyday use. Now, all right, y'all. As we put the final pixelated period on today's stream, just know that it doesn't end, right? Come back next Tuesday. We've got more. The week after Michael is super exciting. The CEO of mmhmm, Phil Libben, is going to be joining us, and that's going to be an amazing stream. I know that everybody out there is super excited for that one. I'm such a fanboy, so I'm like, I can't believe that I'm here today, even in the same stratosphere as Phil, and feel very blessed to have all of you join us today from wherever you're at. I'm so grateful for all your participation, watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing your energy, being part of the growing mmhmm community. And until next time, keep streaming, keep dreaming, and don't stop the feeling.
Can't get schedules in sync? Update everyone fast by recording a video with mmhmm. mmhmm videos are perfect for demos, updates, and presentations. Trim, delete, and reorder sections to get right to the point. Fix mistakes by re-recording them. Forgot something? Add it later. Nothing explains your ideas better than you do. Explain yourself. mmhmm.